What's happening, people? Happy Memorial Day. Hope you guys all had a great day off. Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush. You know me. I am here to bring you. Let's think about it. We talk Giants football 52 weeks a year. Every Monday, we're here at 8 o'clock. Whether it's raining, snowing, whether it's a holiday or not, we are here to talk Giants football because that's what we do. Special episode, giving the keys to Spartan Mike today. Truth's gonna hang out with us, right? And we're gonna talk some shop, whole bunch of cool things going on. So let's bring in the boys. Thanks again, watching another episode of Giants Rush. And of course, I would even go as far to say that this is a very cool time to be a Giants fan. Some good things happening. And thanks for hanging out. Spartan Mike, looks like you're up. Boom.
Craig, what is happening? It is a pleasant, blessed, beautiful Memorial Day here in Chicago. We get 4 beautiful days a year, and then that's it. It's winter again. So it is nice to be with you, and it is nice to be with, yet again, the Giants fans out here that listen to Rush. And again, people, we are 8 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers at New York Giants Rush. So please, tell your husbands, tell your wives, tell your second wives, tell your ex-wives, therapists, parole officers. If you're a serial killer, as you're burying dead bodies, grab their phones real quick and subscribe to New York Giants Rush, okay? It's not that much to ask for. Please, like and subscribe. We appreciate you all. Craig, back to you.
How close are we?
8.
8 away, people.
8 dead bodies. I'm sorry, 8 followers away from the like and subscribe goal of 1,000.
So, I'd like to even go a little bit further, Mike, and let you know that we are only 14 away from 10,000 followers on Twitter, too.
Woo, 14? All right, guys. You know what to do.
Yeah, you know what to do.
My directions. Follow my directions. Tell all those people, everybody you're close with, to like and subscribe.
It's very easy.
Just
hit the button.
That's right.
And by the way, I'm giving away some killer stuff for the 10,000th, follower. But when you're 9,995, 96, 97, 98, and 99, you're getting a cool prize pack. 10,000's winning an Otis Anderson autographed jersey. It is a fabulous white, almost like Color Rush would be for whoever becomes 10,000. We're very close. So
who else does that? No. Who else does that for the fans? Who else does that?
Only the Rush, baby.
Rush.
Let's bring in Truth because he's hanging out in the back. I haven't seen Truth in like weeks. There he is. Truth.
Hey, what's up? Weeks? It's been months.
Truth, this is the first time we've been on the podcast since the draft show. This is it. The first time you and I have been together since then.
I know. I'm trying to find some life here. How's this look?
Much better.
Fantastic.
Yeah, much better. Truth's got a new place, people. So you get used to him seeing this new atmosphere. Because he's a high roller. His new employer hooked him up with a new pad, so he's got a new bachelor pad. So we haven't seen Truth in a couple weeks. It hasn't been that long, but it has been at least 3 weeks. Thanks for hanging out with us. I really don't have anything to say because you know what? If I could literally physically Mike, put your hands over to your left.
All right. I'm reaching out 1,200 miles away. All right. They should be right next to you now, Craig.
There you go. I just gave you the keys, dude. You are now in charge of Giants Rush. I am now hanging out, and I get to say all sorts of crazy stuff like you guys do every week. So the floor is yours.
Over to me. All right. Well, actually, it's going to have to go right back over to you, Craig, because let's talk about it. You were hanging out with Logan Ryan the other day. Tell the Giants fans the story, man. It's not every day you run into a Giants player.
Yeah. It was actually today. It was actually a couple hours ago. Right place, right time. Took the boys, my son, Little Rush, and a couple of his buddies out to do go-karts and happened to be in this brand new building. It was only 4 weeks old. So I figured Memorial Day wouldn't be a lot of people there. We've been, listen, for anyone out there that doesn't like lacrosse, we're lacrosse people through and through. And this whole weekend in the Philadelphia market was the NCAA championship series. So it was Virginia, it was Duke, it was Penn State, it was Notre Dame. some of the best lacrosse you'll ever see. But we did have some time today, so we went go-karting. And just happened to be a guy walking out with his little bops. I just kind of, know what he looks like. He does have the dreads, which kind of, grabbed my attention. And he's in great shape. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like a ball player. You know what I mean? So I just happened to be like, hey, Logan. And he was like, he's like, you know me? I was like, hey, Logan Ryan, what's up? We talked a little bit. He mentioned, and by the way, class act. Absolute 1000% great human. Took 10 minutes out of his day to stop and hang out with me and talk, take a picture. And he let me know, Spartan Mike, that he was with Dabes in New England.
Good. Let's have him come back, baby.
I would like him back. I love the veteran presence. But overall, I want to just let everybody know Logan Ryan is just a good human being. He still has family in the Jersey area. So it was really good. Really good bumping into him. And like I said, class act. Wouldn't mind at all if the Giants re-signed him. So
and he might be stopping by the show now, if we're not mistaken, right, Craig?
I did ask him. He said he would try to see what he could do. So I sent him a note over Instagram to see if we can connect schedules.
That's awesome, Craig. Incredible, right? And don't you always have to bring it up? It's like, no, actually, I work in sports media as well, not just you, my friend. Look at us, two alike people.
Yeah. Again, it just I can't say that like I am smart enough or that I'm popular enough that I just called up Logan and be like, hey, bring the kids over.
We have Kurt Warner on our show, right? I mean, we can kind of make it seem like we do.
We can do, yeah, but it was very cool. Guy's a class act, and again, looks in great shape. Probably could put him on today. He did say, hey, I got 11 years in the league, and I can be picky where I want to play, and so again, just. Yeah. I don't know. Really good human being, and it was cool that he gave me some time.
Well, that's awesome, Craig. Well, look, I mean, first thing we want to do here is I am rolling out a new segment here to go over the Giants' away schedule because it's so awesome this year. And one of my passions is traveling within the United States. I'm not going to say which one I have not been to. I've been to every single location, for the most part, multiple times. And I'm going to give advice for the one that I didn't go to. I will pull in some resources to make sure. But look, Greg, you've done it yourself. You went to Seattle in 2005. Did you not?
I did.
And let's not talk about the game. Did you not have a blast experiencing a new football stadium and a new away game?
Seattle's a great place to see a game for multitudes of reasons. I mean, you can go to the Jimi Hendrix Museum. You've got, of course, the city of Seattle is awesome. The stadium is state of the art. I mean, probably. Again, it's a little bit older, Mike, now, but great stadium, really cool people. Again, the Jimi Hendrix Museum. How could you go wrong?
Yeah, you can't. No, you can't. There's a lot of cool stuff in Seattle. There's a lot of cool stuff in all the cities the Giants are playing in this year. They got Miami. They got New Orleans, Vegas, San Francisco, even Buffalo for a long weekend. You could have a lot of fun in all these locations. And so what I want to do is I'm creating a series where each week I'm going to break down each of the away destinations for the Giants this year, and I'm going to make recommendations of where to stay, things to do, places to eat, and then golf course recommendations as well. So that anybody that wants to do a long weekend in any of these places is going to get a full-on experience. All right, and I'm going to cross-consult with some travel agents as well here to make sure we're giving like the best advisory. But trust me, as somebody who does this with their dad now every year, go to a Giants away game at least once in your life. It is a freaking blast to experience a new atmosphere. And not all away fans are like Eagles fans. Just remember that. You go to Chicago, you go to Phoenix, you're not going to deal with these problems. I promise you. But yeah, let's get right into it, guys. All right. Giants events. So first one, Waller. He's been looking very good in camp from what we've heard. His over-under for the touchdowns for the year is 5.5. That's pretty good. We'd obviously like to see more. But Truth, I'll hand it to you. I mean, what are your expectations for Waller this year? And have they increased since the release of that news?
Well, my biggest thing right now is him to stay healthy. I know that's been the knock on him. And if he could stay healthy, I definitely could see him being arguably the Giants' most productive receiver this year.
Yeah, I feel that. Craig, let me ask you this then, all right? Darren Waller steps in. I mean, could we be looking at the possibility in case Bellinger really steps it up? Do we run two tight ends in that offense? What are your thoughts?
Because Kafka's the offensive coordinator, you don't see like Kansas City run a ton of two tight end sets. Can they? Yes. Will they? I don't think so. I think like from the combination of Buffalo and Kansas City, I feel that offense is driven by speed and mismatches. I don't see them going that route. Well, what the heck do I know? But personnel wise, Buffalo doesn't do it very often, and neither does Kansas City. And to Truth's point, Mike, started the segment off by saying that he should be our leading receiver. I do agree. Now 5.5 touchdowns. Like, I don't know where that comes from. If that cat can't have 6 touchdowns, there's a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just too low. I mean, if we're talking, hey, listen, like wherever you do your sports gambling, if there's a bet to be made at 5.5, I'm taking the over.
We'll take the over. We're hammering it.
Yeah, I just can't see it, Mike. I just can't. I mean, Spartan. I mean, this guy has potential of being 1,000-yard, 8 to 10 touchdown guy. And I know he's rebounding off an injury, but if he can't get 5 touchdowns, I mean, like I think Bellinger had 4.
Well, I guess the question is, does Waller even get utilized in the same capacity that Bellinger did as a tight end? I always tend to find that those shorter route tight ends, the more stockier ones, are actually the ones that get targeted in the red zone more when they get up, between 10 and 15 yards away from the red zone, as opposed to those receiving ones. So I do kind of see that. If, you look at Daniel Jones last year, most of his touchdowns in air, when they got a little bit closer, were very few that were deep passes. That was the nature of the game. I'm not criticizing Daniel Jones.
Spartan, just remember, you're thinking of Waller like a traditional inline tight end. I don't think you'll see that a lot, especially in the red zone. I think you'll see him in the slot. You could send him on the outside, a little fade, and he back in the end zone. I mean, that's how diversified he is. They can use him a lot of ways in the red zone.
Yeah, very interested to see how what Kafka's plan is for Waller. There's no doubt about it. All right, Craig, why don't we move on to the next subject here? Let's talk about Saquon. It's just been a sore point, obviously, for Giants fans through and through this offseason. There's not necessarily any downside because it's probably not very high risk of him not playing next year. You just want everything to kind of work out so that there's good vibes going from him and with the team and everything like that going to the season. Where does this stand now, Craig? And how do you feel? How do you feel the Saquon Barkley situation is going to unravel here?
I mean, last week, I'm sure you guys remember we interviewed Jordan Rahan from ESPN, and we dug into
it.
Yeah, and I think Jordan just had a ton of really good points that, like, it is about the tag at 10.5. That's guaranteed money. So if you're looking at a 2-year deal, you're guaranteeing him, right? 21 a year. I mean, I'm sorry, 11 a year, right? Or 10.5 a year, 2 years at 21, 2 years at 22, 2 years at 23. I think that's what he's going to have to play on, because what I understand from Jordan last week was that 13.5 wasn't guaranteed, right? That was, that was the number that they offered him, but it wasn't guaranteed. The only guarantee Saquon has is 10.5 on the tag. So whatever made up that 13.5 that they balked on wasn't guaranteed money, and that's why they balked on it. It might have been 7 guaranteed or 9 guaranteed, but it wasn't 10.5 guaranteed. The tag seems to be the highest he has been offered for guaranteed. And I think what they're holding on to is, they want a 3-year deal, 11, 12 guaranteed a year, right? So right now the Giants are at, basically, because they can tag him twice. So the Giants are at 2 years, 21 million guaranteed, right? 10.5 a year. So their sticking point is somewhere between, let's say, 2 years and 3 years, and what is above the tag.
Right.
Like, can the Giants offer 11.5, 12.5? Like, can they offer, because I'm sure, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure. It feels like if it was a, let me do the math. So if they offer him a 3-year deal, let's say, but they haven't, right? So if it's 11, so you're looking at 3 years, 34.5 million. That's 11 and a half. Like that's 11. I think that's a good deal. But I don't know if the Giants are willing to go 3 years.
Yeah,
He's
They
going
could
to be.
always tag him twice anyway. They could tag Saquon Barkley twice. I think that's what Jordan was talking about on the show last week.
Yes,
There's not really
yes, but that's still.
that.
But again, so think about so that's what Giants are looking at. It's a guaranteed 21 million, 2-year contract. That's basically the tag.
yeah, that's
And what his people are saying, well, I want more than the tag, and I want a 3rd year. So you have to think that what he's probably looking for is instead of 10 and a half at the tag, he probably wants 12 a year guaranteed for 3 years. So he's looking at 34 to 36 is what he probably wants, and the Giants aren't there yet.
Yeah. I mean, truth, what do you see at this point? Do you think he's going to play on the tag? I mean, by the way, he will play on the tag if he gets tagged. There's not a question there. He has
right.
to. But what do you anticipate here? Do you think they're going to wrap
Or,
up the deal?
or he holds out, Spartan, or he holds out.
Yeah, but they're talking about like this diminishing. Like if he tries doing that, he can't do it as effectively as a quarterback could try to hold out.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
he's a running back.
yeah, and he holds out, and he's just only going to get older. Someone I believe Entertainer talked about that, how it's really against him to do this because his age is a factor, and on the negative side for him, not on a positive. So really, I don't know. I really don't know. Like we all don't know what's going on in the negotiations. I think Craig, you're pretty good with what you're surmising here about the contract, what it could be. I just don't know what their agents. I think they're asking too much for him. I think there is a history of injury, and I think that's what concerns the Giants mostly.
Right.
It's not his productivity. I think it's his history of injuries.
Do you think? Now, I will say this though: if you actually look, let's just even say $12 million a year. I mean, that's high for the running back, just running backs in general. But when he's healthy, wow, Saquon Barkley brings value to the Giants, and I would be afraid to see this offense without him.
Again, I holding out that didn't work out for Le'Veon Bell. It ain't going to work out for Saquon.
It's only going to depreciate their value, and again, they can't sign multi-year deals after that, or they can. It just gets trickier.
Look what he signed for Bell when the Jets signed him. It was really nothing. It wasn't a lot of money. It was a 2-year deal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yeah. And again, this is what you have to look at it as 2-year tag, 10 and a half a year. So they're basically saying, here's a 2-year contract at 10 and a half, because that's the tag, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the tag. They're offering him a 2-year tag deal. Like they can do it 1 year and 1 year, but they're just saying, I'm going to give you 2 years at 10 and a half a year guaranteed.
Right.
And I think the Rock Nation play is like, okay, what we would like is a little more than the tag and add a 3rd year. So if tag 10 and a half, take it to 12.
Take it to 12. Take it to 12.
Add a 3rd year, 36. Let's go.
So they want 3 years guaranteed. That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
Right?
That'll pretty much take him to the end of his career. I don't see him playing past that.
I see him playing past that, but I don't like after that 3rd year, he would have to be a complete anomaly to be healthy.
Well, at that point, if we hadn't won a Super Bowl, he'd probably leave to join the Chiefs or something.
You gotta give it to Shane though. What he did, he's put the Giants in position where he can tag him again next year. Because look who will be free agents for the Giants really next year.
Mark, I'm going to put this up here. Mark says he wants to hear nothing but facts. So the facts are that he is right now in front of him a 2-year deal at 10 and a half a year. That's a fact. And that's all it is. Guaranteed 2 years, which is 2 tags at 10 and a half. Well, that's all we know right now. But we know that right now they're not thrilled about signing it because they would have done it already.
Right. Exactly. This isn't like our last general manager. They're going to be a little bit careful about the signings they do.
Jay says the second year of the tag narrative is absurd. The whole point is guarantees. If he tears an ACL, he's on incentives and the rest of his career. Correct. So all he wants is something guaranteed, right? The tag is 10 and a half and 2 years. And they're not signing it because they want more than the tag.
And they want,
yeah. But again, those are just, it is speculation. Mark's point is he just wants facts. Facts are right now, they have not signed a 2-year, 10.5-year guaranteed.
Exactly. We're not going to talk to anybody that has insider information here. We're just going over the whole speculation scenarios here.
Correct. So, but again, we did have, if you guys haven't got a chance to listen to last Monday's interview with Jordan, check it out.
Jordan did a very good job of going into this. But it's going to have to be a recurring segment on the show here throughout the summertime. Obviously, there's only so much going on in Giants world.
What's the deadline, real quick? What's the deadline with Barkley? July what?
June. Hold on.
I think it was July 15th.
The tag deadline?
Yeah, the deadline. The sign up.
You know what? Our people are so good. Just ask people, what's the tag 17th. Date? What was it?
July 17th.
There you go.
Okay. So they got some time still.
They got time.
By the way, Spartan, you haven't mentioned one time my Rush lid here.
That is a really cool lid. I'm not going to lie. You do rock. I won't say it's a little tough. I can't rock a flat rim. It has to be a very soft hat. You do rock the flat rim, and you do look great with that skull.
He rocks the flat rim.
He rocks it. He rocks it. This is New York Giants Rush, baby, and Craig is looking good as always. How about this subject now? So earlier in the year, people were speculating, what if the Giants ever traded for DeAndre Hopkins? Now he's a free agent. The Giants, if they want to, could land him. Yahoo.com said DeAndre Hopkins, the best landing place for him would be the New York Giants. However, there are cap situations the Giants would have to consider. Is he going to bring added value, or would he be another disastrous contract? I want to hear both your guys' thoughts. Truth, let's start with you. Giants signing DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, no, why?
Personally, I say no.
How come?
He's going to be 31 in a week, I believe, in early June. I don't know if it's going to be like a domino effect for Shane to come up with the money for him. If he doesn't, let's say, I don't want to speculate, but let's say he restructures somebody, that possibly we don't want to have on the payroll next year because it could cause a problem. Gettleman did this stuff and we had issues. I really think the Giants don't need to sign him. I think they have enough weapons. I really do.
Let me ask you this, Truth, because a lot of it's just about price, right? And the assumption here is he's probably going to ask for 20 some odd million, and then we start getting to the uncomfortable water. But what would like a price be for you where you say that's great, or even if it was like a good price, you're saying, you know what, we're in a good spot right now?
Well, unrealistically, I would say, the Giants only have 3.8 right now million cap space. So
it's not much. You have to work with a couple of players.
Yeah, and that lies an issue where it could affect them down the road with somebody else who's younger and could be more of a future with the team. Now, Shane always talks about the culture, the future of the Giants. This is not a long-term move if you got Hopkins. It's not. Why would you sign a 31-year-old to a 3-4 year deal? That would be absolutely crazy at the wide receiver position. I wouldn't do it. I know I get a lot of flack for saying this on Twitter. I did the other day. But I don't think – I think it's a mistake in the long run.
Craig, what are your thoughts?
So, there's a part of me that just wants that proven stud wide receiver, right?
Yes.
The part of me just is like, man, this is Daniel Jones' ticket to 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, right?
That's right. And a Super Bowl driving off in an Escalade with two girls in each lap, or
yeah,
that too. Yeah. That too. Yeah, that.
All of that feels like something I want, but there's something that tells me this is not the right thing to do. I'm not sure what it is because I don't. Again, like Mark said before about facts, I don't have any facts if he's healthy or he's not. I don't have any facts if he's a good in the locker room or he's not. I don't know anything about Hopkins past the froth, the fluff that we get on the cappuccino. I don't know. Did him and Kyler not get along? he's already on his second team. This would be his third team. I don't know. I do know that the dude is a stud, but there's only one ball to go around. And does bringing him in here just upset all these young wide receivers that we have? Like, if you bring in Hopkins, does that put Hyatt on the back burner? Does that put Shep on the back burner? Does that put Paris Campbell
undoubtedly didn't move down the ranks if he succeeds. But I mean, obviously, in the bad scenario that he doesn't, then no. But I hate to say it, you would almost kind of hope that somebody like Shepard gets put on the back burner in that case.
Well, personally, I'm not worried about that part. I'm worried about
I just meant as far as the receiving room. You upset the receiving room. I just think right now they've got a really good nucleus of guys. Again, if he was 28, I'd probably be like, you got to go do it. Right?
Yeah, you would consider that. Absolutely.
Because something says to me, and I don't know if, and Mark actually just stole my thunder. I'm going to pop this up on here for you guys. Mark and I are on the same page. I don't know if Hop, again, stud player. Never heard a bad thing about him. I don't know any, back to what Mark said before. I don't know anything about him, but does he fit this culture? It doesn't feel like he fits this culture. So I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's the guy, and something's telling me to let Hyatt become the guy. Let Campbell deliver. So I'm not on the Hop train. I know probably I'll catch a lot of crap for that.
Yeah, you will, and so will I for saying what I did. But
yeah, but we got to talk about the possibilities, and that's why we bring it up, right? And
I think fans, Giant fans want quick fix and everything, and sometimes you look at a name and you speculate, oh boy, he's going to be like he was when he was 25. I mean, they did it with OBJ before he signed with the Ravens. Twitter was flooded with OBJ coming back to the Giants,
And let's be honest, too. I mean, these big contracts have not worked out for the Giants. So for a lot of fans out here, I mean, it's difficult to fathom these big numbers because, I mean, I'm trying to think of any in the last 10 years that have really panned out for us. I mean, between the Souls and the Galladay, it's always a disaster.
I really believe, guys, I think Jalen Hyatt is going to have a bigger role in this team as a rookie. I think he's going to make a bigger impact than anybody thinks he is.
I hope so.
I really do.
Look, if we knew that he was going to get 12 touchdowns a year, sure, we'd be absolutely okay with it. But
did anybody know? Did anybody know that Jefferson was going to be as good as he is?
No, of course not.
People were saying when the Eagles passed on him that was a mistake.
Yeah, but not to the impact what he's doing in the league.
No, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, just in the sense that he was better.
So if we just throw the rock at Hyatt. I mean, they had his quarterback on, right? On Good Morning Football. And what did he say? He says, I think that Chase and
he's faster than Chase.
Than Chase and Hill. I just think you let Hyatt, win that spot, and you got a really good supporting cast with Hodgins and Campbell.
Yeah, I agree. It would be devastating. If he's not going to end up there, but. We always see this we pass, but then the Eagles sign a guy like this, God damn it, because now we have to worry if he's going to ball out. That is always a painful experience.
Dan says you can't compare to Jefferson Hyatt. I'm not comparing the player at all.
Yeah, I know.
All I'm saying
you never did. You never did.
Yeah. All we're saying is that we're talking about expectations. Jefferson came in with this much expectations and he blew it out of the water. Hyatt's a third-round pick. So the expectations are a little bit lower. Maybe he performs like a second-round pick or a first-round pick. That's all we're saying is if we throw the ball at the kid, maybe he overperforms. Nothing about the two receivers head-to-head.
No, nothing. And I know looking into that, he got drafted in round 3. And, I mean, the history of NFL is full of guys getting drafted on day 3 who become Hall of Famers. Guys who never didn't even get drafted are Hall of Famers. I can name a handful of them. So it's what you do.
Guys like that throughout the years, there's no doubt, right?
Absolutely.
It's been a while. The whole 2010s decade. I mean, they never hit on a mid-round pick.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and Mark B's must have saw it too. Like, yeah, the QB was on there saying that those guys aren't the fastest anymore. So, let Hyatt show what he can do.
There we go.
I agree.
I don't want you to think I don't like Hopkins, or I have anything against Hopkins. He would make an impact here. I just don't know if you're mortgaging your future. You're putting a lot of money out there. He's a little bit on the older side.
There's a risk. There's a huge risk. I mean,
yeah, that's exactly how I feel, Craig. Just like what you're saying. I think he's a good player, but just not for the Giants.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, let's go into our fun segment for the night. Since I have you both in here and our cards are flying around left and right, tonight is the senior citizens segment here, segment. And by the way, I wouldn't say this to any of their faces. I mean, maybe Craig, but not Truth. Truth, you look like a character from The Sopranos. I really wouldn't say this if I was in the Carolinas. But we are going to ask a few questions here. We have about 12. And we're just going to see where I'll give my thoughts on it too. We'll just see if there's generational differences here. We see it left and right, but now we're going to be here to duke it out. So here we go. And I was just joking around, everybody. I don't want Truth to call in the house.
I'll make a phone.
What are you trying to say? You don't want to get whacked?
Exactly. Truth, do you smoke cigars? I just feel like you have a rack of them that are.
I do. Only when I play golf once in a while with my buddies when we're playing. Once in a while, I'll have a stogie. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm a youngin, so I try to. It's like.
All right.
So.
All right. I'm only doing this for a second because you brought it to the Sopranos thing. So Spartan, I'm going to grab this real fast. It's on the other side of my desk. This is special for you, Spartan.
Oh,
it's a surprise.
What did you open up, Spartan? What the heck?
This is a can of worms. We did interview a guy from The Sopranos, right? We got the guy that played
Vito.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe.
Oh, he sent you this? What do you got there? Is that you with Sopranos? When did you do that?
Long time ago.
Yeah, you look like you're like 32 years old there.
Yeah, I'm probably 30. Yeah.
Look at that. No hair in his face, too. Look at that.
I know, right? That was before the hair. That was before the hair gig. Craig,
that's a good one, Craig. I like that.
You don't look any older than you did in that photo.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's a little, you can't really see it too good, but like, it's like
you should have had a pinky ring. You should have had a pinky ring in that picture.
Yes.
That's weird. I don't know what you want to call him. Senior Rush. My dad.
Right.
He does the pinky ring thing. It's weird.
I got a pinky ring I wear once in a while.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Oh, yeah, when I'm with my homeboys from back home, sometimes we do that.
Rush, it's so funny. That's funny.
All right, guys, let's
bring it, Spartan. Bring it.
All right.
Get off my lawn.
We can't go back and forth for too long on any of these. We'll just give it a little spit spat. All right. Let me start.
Get off my lawn, Spartan. Get off my lawn.
I'm 100 miles away from your freaking lawn. I'm living in a shoebox in Chicago here, damn it. And unlike Truth, I have to pay for this freaking place. But anyway, all right. First point. Do you guys agree or disagree? Defense wins championships.
Yes, I agree.
You both agree.
100%.
I no longer agree with this topic, and I will tell you my opinion. I believe a built elite pass game has outshone defenses now in the last decade. The year that made me start thinking there was a change coming was 2011 with the Giants. The pass game was outstanding that year, and that led to the Giants winning that Super Bowl. And I think in the last 10 years, you look at the teams that are winning the Super Bowls, it's always the elite passing game offenses, although there are a couple exceptions like the 2015.
Go ahead, Craig. I know what you're going to say. Go, Craig.
Well, how about this? Elite passing offenses get you to the Super Bowl. They get you there. But when you look at majority of these Super Bowl scores, 12-17, 21-23, like you get a lot of low-scoring games because you've got the best of the best, 2 weeks to prepare, all that film, right? Like, look what happened to Mahomes 2 years ago. Like, they had him running for his life. And,
yes,
yes, everything's an anomaly. It does happen where an offense just comes in and smokes you and you can't catch up. But elite defenses they just change what the offense can do. And if you take away Mahomes or Josh Allen, you take Burrow, you shut those guys down, then what do you start doing? The defense definitely wins you the championship, or, if you want to say opens the door for you to win the championship. Maybe more, how about this, Mike? They're more equal on a plane now, where through the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, maybe, let's say it was it was here and here, right? I think now it can be closer. It could even be even, but there's no way if you don't have an elite defense, you win the Super Bowl.
Listen, you have to have both, obviously, right? But I agree with Craig. I mean, you can have a really elite offense and not even make the playoffs if your defense is horrible. I mean, George Young, who's the greatest GM in Giants history, he said, "Good offense gets you to the playoffs, but good defenses win championships," and it's true.
And so, you know what, Mike? I'll leave you. I'll leave you with this, Mike. I'll leave you with this, and then you can go to the next one. Is everything the regular season and the playoffs is driven by the offense, but when it comes down to the Super Bowl, and you've got all this week to prepare
playoffs, yeah.
It's the defense that changes the tone of the game.
Momentum and all that stuff. Yep.
They have 2 weeks to prepare. You're not going to surprise them with anything. They know all your tendencies. They know all these great things that you do. So the offense, I think, it's always about the offense. It's a passing league. It's always the offense. But when you get to that 60 minutes, the defense literally is getting all that great quarterback off the field.
Well, I think it's important for the defense to get to the quarterback. They have to do that regardless. But if you look at the rankings, the Chiefs last year were 16 in defense. The Rams in 2021 were 15 in defense. I think that and you're right. Regardless, the defense has to show up the day of the Super Bowl, and the Rams defense did do that.
They play well above.
They did give up a lot of points, though. I'm just saying that overall, in order to really build the team, having that strong pass game. Well, I will say this. I mean, defensive wise, you can't be below average. There's no way you can get to the Super Bowl and win it if you have the 25th ranked defense. I do think if you have between 10 and 15 defense, you're in pretty good position. But if you have a top 3 pass game plus a slightly above average defense, you're in good hands there, as opposed to if you had an average quarterback and a top 5 defense.
Look at the Ravens. The Ravens won a Super Bowl with Tilfer.
But now we're getting into the most extreme situation possible. And Pro Bowlers, and because this argument comes up all the time on Twitter. I do think. I mean, we really could have played quarterback back there, and they would have won that. There's no doubt. But Dilfer did have a good game that Super Bowl. Okay, right? No, it was actually pretty crappy. He had that one nice pass. He didn't really have a great game otherwise. They played it 12 times.
It didn't matter. They were so dominant, that defense. Giants had no chance.
And get off my lawn.
Get off. All right. Get off my lawn. On to the next subject. Quarterbacks should be mobile. What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Truth.
Yes, to an extent. I don't think they need to be scramblers. I think they need to be able to evade the pocket when they need to and get positive yardage. You can't have a quarterback back there who slumbers and can't move. I don't think you'll find a successful one. But yes, I think they need to be mobile to an extent.
Craig?
If you don't have a mobile quarterback, you're shot. You're not winning more than 5 games. The league is about athletes on both sides of the ball. So if I put some guy like Chris Jones or TJ Watt or Tibbs, your quarterback better be just as athletic as that D end or that outside linebacker, right? So hands down, yeah. I mean, if you're not mobile, you're not winning.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I mean, I hate to say this. I mean, Eli, everything he did, he was a fantastic talent. I'm very glad he had the offensive line he did, because if he had an average one, it would have been really difficult for him to.
Yeah,
he had an average line his last 7 years of his career.
No, they were all
average.
He couldn't do anything back there. It was terrible, right? But I will say, I mean, in this day and age, when the game is so quick, I don't really know if Eli got drafted today, he can have that same kind of success that he did. I actually think it's become increasingly difficult for quarterbacks that can't run.
I don't see it, Mike. I don't even see it, Mike. Like, just go across the league. It doesn't matter if they're white, they're black, they're tall, they're short. They play SEC, Big Ten, AC. It doesn't matter. All these quarterbacks are supreme athletes, and they're all mobile.
Exactly. And on third, what I need is this. I mean, first and foremost, they got to be dominant passers, right? But if it's 3rd and 4 and there's open lane, you got to go for it, especially in this day and age. Go for the sticks, get that first down. You got to be able to evade defensive players. Got to be able to get that first down on your legs.
Yeah, if you look at the league right now, 32 teams, what quarterback is totally not mobile? Who's the starting quarterback? I can't think of one.
I can name
there's slower ones. I don't think Cousins is the most mobile guy.
Either is Goff.
No, but you're right. You're right. They're not considered elite or anywhere near.
None of the elite quarterbacks are old school, sit in the pocket, flamethrowers. No, they're not there anymore.
What about the guy with what about Pickett with Steelers?
He'll run if he needs to.
Oh yeah, Penny. Don't you remember that big controversial play 2 years ago that was all over ESPN? He was cruising down the field and he faked the slide, so all the linebackers.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I had this imagination he was a slower quarterback.
I'm not saying. Wait. We didn't say. You said mobile.
Not slow.
You didn't say fast.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, let's do this. Eli Manning or Phil Simms, who is the better quarterback? I am going to abstain from answering. I want you two to, because I never watched them play.
So wrong. It's just. I don't even like the question.
I don't like it either because it's a stupid question. No.
Yeah. Like, come on. What are you setting the old guys up?
Jeez. All right. Well, that didn't get anywhere.
No.
Right. If you had to pick one to lead you down the field with 2 minutes left, who'd you pick?
I think either way, you're not going to lose. But listen, I love Phil Simms because of his toughness and coming from a small school and a lot of diversity with his first 3 or 4 years, injuries, and thank God he didn't play during social media. He had been kicked out of New York, but he persevered, and his turning point was what, 1984, right? And he then from then on in, he was a leader.
Yep.
All right. So I'll answer your question.
The comment section's having no problem answering this question
because, honestly, they're
younger.
Well, they're drastically.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. True.
They're drastically different eras and they're drastically different players. But I will say that Phil Simms had a great arm. He threw a great ball. He threw a great ball to absolutely absurd, crappy receivers. The receivers that he threw to were probably nice guys to have a steak dinner with. They were not NFL quality, wide receivers. He threw to a bunch of guys that were lunch pail guys. Like Phil Simms threw a great ball.
Okay.
Eli was just very, very smart, high IQ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can make the throw and
his
had all
his mid-range pass game was incredible. Just absolutely outstanding with Eli.
Yes, he was.
And truth, this better than anybody. I mean, Eli had all those fourth quarter comebacks, which is hard to say. Phil Simms wasn't we didn't have a ton of fourth quarter comebacks because the defense set the tone back then, right?
Yeah, they had a great team.
It's just such a hard question to answer. But if I had to have a guy take me down the field, and I could put, how about this? I'll leave you with this. I put Eli on the '86 Giants, and I put Simms on the 2007 Giants. Simms succeeds, Eli doesn't.
Ooh, okay.
Wow, that's a big one because the 86 Giants had the best defense of all of them that won the recent Super Bowls.
Eli couldn't throw to crappy receivers. Eli just didn't have that gunslinger. I mean, how many Simms just?
Can I have one caveat here? Just one caveat. I think Eli made a lot of his receivers special, and because I remember when OBJ was leaving. They're like Eli could never get on the ball. Actually, if you look at most of the receivers that Eli had, they never succeeded outside of having Eli. Plaxico did prior to Eli, but that's a different one. Like,
Well,
I
listen,
like
Sean,
elevators receiver.
my man Sean B is putting this up there. He knows what time it is. Look, Sims was throwing to guys like Bobby Johnson, Stacy Robinson, Lionel Manuel, Phil McConkey, Stephen Baker. Those guys were nice, but they weren't
They wouldn't
Hakeem
start.
Nicks, Victor Cruz, Odell Beckham.
They wouldn't
I mean,
start. They wouldn't start on this
they
team.
wouldn't get in the game. They wouldn't even make the team.
They had
Yeah,
Bavaro.
right.
He had Mark Bavaro to throw to. That may have been his best receiver.
Yeah,
Craig.
I'm not talking about tight ends. I mean, listen, Eli had Shockey, whatever,
Yeah.
Bavaro. I'm just saying that Sims threw a great freaking ball.
He did.
Eli was a really smart quarterback who made big throws. I don't know. Sims had a better arm.
But you're about to lose Mark Thompson as a fan here. He is not happy with your comment.
Well, hold on before you show that. I mean, didn't Sims throw in the other Giant Stadium again with bad winds?
Yeah.
Okay, and you look, Eli is going to be in the Hall of Fame. All right, and Sims probably may not.
It's a long shot, yeah.
Right, it's
Yeah.
a long shot.
Yeah.
So that's the debate people are going to have. You know, Eli's going to be a Hall of Famer, but I tell you, Sims was, you know, in the era of a running, the Giants ran more. If they allowed him to throw, he'd have been very productive as well.
Yeah. Guys, I love this conversation. This was a good topic, and I know you guys didn't want to answer the question, but look where we got out of it. Let me ask you this.
Can I put this one up here, Spartan?
Hey, go ahead.
K-Max says Eli threw touchdowns to 58 different wide receivers, including 19 one-and-dones.
Fair enough.
It's powerful. And by the way, you just asked me if I was going down the field, who would I put in there? And I just said Sims because he had a better arm. The body of work of Eli, what he did over those, you know, what was this? Was this how many years are we talking?
Almost 20 years, you think, right?
2004, yeah.
No,
Like, I mean, I love what Eli did. Made some great. They're very. Again, I love them both. You said about if I was going down the field, who would I want? I just think Sims had a better arm.
And guys, this is Senior Citizens episode. Craig may have not taken his meds this morning. Just remember that.
And another thing, Sims is a little more protective with throwing the ball too, with you know, interceptions. He really was. He was very. He minimized that risk as well.
Let me ask you guys this while we're on the subject of quarterbacks, all right? And this just hear the statement and understand what I'm asking, Nick, because things are speculative depending on the quarterback. But the statement is this: contracts for quarterbacks are getting so expensive, it is becoming increasingly difficult to build good teams because of how much cap space they take up. What are your thoughts?
Well, we'll see after the Hurts contract what Philly does the next couple of years, but I don't know. They find the money. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to keep growing because what's going to happen when Joe Burrow's due? How much is he going to make, that guy? You know? I mean, will he be the first $60 million guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Craig's speechless. Look at this.
I mean, the money's absurd. I mean, the money is absurd, but they can get it. So
and it's not about whether or not they can get it. It's more about, hey, you know, if this guy's making $250 million and he's the 12th best quarterback. I'm not talking about Jones. But if a guy's getting $200 million or something like that, it's taking up 20 to 25% of the cap, and he's not one of the top guys in the league. Is that affecting the build of the team? Jerry Jones kind of alluded to it with Dak Prescott. I just want to hear your thoughts on that concept in its own.
Yeah.
So I guess, you're like, man, it's like such a can of worms. I guess that when you look at overall, there are 1,800 players in the NFL. There are only 32 quarterbacks. They're so hard to find that, you know, I don't know if that's holding you back from getting what you want. I mean, it is from a high level. If you're just asking me, yeah, if it's what did you just say it was? 1/4 of the salary cap, whatever that 1/10. What did you just say it was?
He said 1/4, I think.
Like
Right?
20% to 25%. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 1/4, you know, 20% of your cap, that is a slap in the face, a wake up call, right? But it's not like these cats grow on trees. I mean, like that's the other thing is like, I think people get crazy with the money and this and that, and you're like, well, who do you want? Who will do better? Like, there's 32 guys. Listen, XFL, USFL, you know, 500 college teams. None of these guys make it. You literally have 32 guys that can do that job. So, like, I don't love the fact that they're going to hold back our franchise or another franchise from doing what they need to do, but still is one of the most elite jobs, in the country. Yes, it will get increasingly hard to keep the talent you want, but because there's not a bazillion QBs out there, you have no choice but to pay them.
Yeah.
Who knows when it's going to slow it?
Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, and truth, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll get to you.
No, that's all right.
Obviously, like a guy like Patrick Mahomes, he's the best QB, one of the most talented ever, right? So, I mean, the money, him taking up a massive portion makes sense. We start getting the middle tier guys like Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't really know if he should be taking up 20 to 25% of the cap himself,
That's why he won't be back next year.
Right. Right. Truth, do you have any other comments on this?
No, I just don't know when it's going to end. I mean, at some point there's got to be a slowdown. It's like in every phase of economy, housing slows down. Everything has to slow down at some point, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. Like I said, I think the next guy is going to be Burrow. I think he's going to get a mega deal. That's going to top.
So is Lawrence.
Yep.
Yeah, Lawrence will. Yeah.
All right, guys. Next question here, if you don't mind. We'll keep it rolling. But Meadowlands versus Giant Stadium. Which one was better to see a game at?
That's Craig all the way. I didn't go to a lot of games, so he'll know better than me.
The Meadowlands. MetLife sucks.
I did Giant Stadium. Giant Stadium
was. Yeah. I mean, again, it was old school. It was built to mimic Arrowhead, Kansas City. It's a very similar design. In today's day and age, that Giant Stadium is definitely a dinosaur. You wouldn't want it, in today's day and age. But there are so many things that don't work at MetLife Stadium. Things that people don't even realize. Like maybe they don't care either. But I'll give you an example.
Because I got one too, and I want to talk about it.
Just in general, they wanted to move the seats closer to the field so you could be closer to the action, right? So what happens when you change the angle to get people closer to the stadium? What do you have to do?
Gotta make the sharper stairs, right? Rise up. The
You gotta go higher. Okay. The new stadium is an entire tier taller than the old stadium. If you were sitting in the 300 level in Giant Stadium, it was high.
But it wasn't that. It's where the middle section is now. My dad and I sat there, and it was perfectly fine.
Because, again, you were a little bit off the field, right? So the old stadium went this way. The new tin can that they play in does this.
Yes.
Okay, so while you're closer to the game, you're farther from the game as you're going that way. And for anyone that's ever, been there before, Giant Stadium, okay, you used to go down to your seat, right? In the new stadium at MetLife, you go up to your seat. So your back is turned to the play all the time. And what happens is when people go in the rows, they're making you stand up, blocking everybody's view, and no one can see, because when you used to walk down the stadium, you knew when to go into your row because you could see the game in front of you. So you would wait till the play was over, and then you'd sneak in your seat. When you go up the stairs, your back is turned to the play. So you're just, excuse me, coming through.
Getting out of MetLife is a nightmare, is it not? I mean, it's a safety hazard. I couldn't believe they passed the code to build that thing. Giant Stadium used to have the spirals. You just kind of walk down and you're out, or you go on those escalators, which, by the way, I mean, maybe those shouldn't have been legal. Those were a little past code too.
I honestly don't, and this is just me, and I'm sure I'll catch crap for this too. I honestly don't think getting out of the stadium is any different. I really don't. Escalator, non-escalator. I really don't think it takes any longer. Like
you don't think so? Don't do that pitter pattern on the way out from the top. But your seats are in better spots than where my dad's were when he got the new tickets.
I don't see it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the technicality. Like this is the biggest one that drives me over the top. Who builds a stadium that you can't walk around the entire building?
I don't know.
If you are on the lower level, the lower bowl of MetLife Stadium, and you come in on the 50-yard line, you cannot walk to the other 50. You cannot do a 360. You
have
cannot
to go up
do
and out, right?
Yes, they block it off in sections. You are allowed to go from the 20 to the end zone, and that's it. You have to go up, out, over, and back in to get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Who builds a stadium that you can't walk around? Not even half.
And in a city where we have some of the best architects on the planet, that's the best we could have come up with.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. The MetLife Stadium, that tin can, that air conditioning unit that it is, was made by Woody Johnson's architecture because the Maras felt bad that, like it was, they were like, come back, hang out with us. Don't build your own stadium. It'll be cheaper. And they just conceded. And Woody Johnson
so the Jets said they wanted a modern look. The Giants wanted a classical look. And so they got together and mixed it into some giant disaster. They should have just gone with one or the other. All right, on to the next one. Greatest game you have ever been to as a Giants fan. Truth, you first.
I think there are many, but the one where the Giants won, I think it was 1991 when they came back from behind from the Cardinals with Jeff Hostetler was the quarterback.
Yes.
And they had a touchdown. Baker made I think it was 2 touchdowns by him late in the fourth quarter. That was probably the best game I went to as a Giant.
Greg.
I almost wish you didn't ask this question either because I
You've been to a few games, right, Craig?
Yeah.
There's 5 you haven't been to. I know that.
Yeah, actually 7 now.
Oh, 7.
Because last year Little Rush was playing football, remember? So I missed a couple.
Oh, yeah, right.
I don't mean like I've seen LT do some sick stuff, you know what I mean? Like pick a ball off and go 97 yards, against the Lions. I've seen I've seen Victor Cruz make some absurd plays. You know what I mean? Giants beating the Broncos, coming back from behind. I mean,
George Martin interception. That one.
I mean, I know that. I hope it doesn't sound like a cop out. I just
go for it. It's all good.
I can't say I have one like favorite. There's been just so many cool moments over the years.
The Alzheimer's is kicking in, is it, Craig?
Maybe. I mean, I will say this. We were talking about this with somebody just recently. During the Jordan interview in '86 when the Giants played the Redskins twice, like in the regular season, and there was this Dexter Manley was their defensive end, and it came out that he was dyslexic.
Right.
Yeah, so he couldn't read, couldn't write. And in the New York Post and the New York Daily News were hammering him on the back page. And the entire, at the time, I think Giant Stadium held like 72,000, 74,000. And they all stand up and they all went. I had never seen anyone together razz one guy and the entire place stand up and go, Dexter. And he turned around literally and went and flipped everyone off. And it was on TV because, it came out that he couldn't read or write. And then a couple weeks later, you're in the NFC Championship game and they had towels and shredded paper and the wind was so
it was
rough.
swirling, right? There's toilet paper going around.
Yeah, just.
That's when they won 17-3, right? Was that kind of game or something?
Yeah. By the way, the comment section is freaking hilarious right now. Real Cold G is just laying down the heat with the jokes. Yeah, everybody's having a good old fest in there while we're talking about this. All right, next question. Proudest moment as a Giants fan. Just keep it simple. What's your proudest moment?
Craig.
Beating Brady twice.
Boom. Truth.
I think it was their first Super Bowl in '86. I think that was, to me, that was as a Giant fan, finally winning the Super Bowl was pretty special.
Getting on the books 25 years or 21 years in, right? It's like, all right, we're one of the franchises that have one. I mean, now it's pretty embarrassing if you don't, but at the time, it meant something if you did.
Yeah, first one's always special, like anything.
Course. I mean, I'm saying, of course, as I'm sure it was. I wasn't around for that. But next question. The game of football is becoming more boring. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Boring.
I don't know about boring. I mean, I do miss the hitting that you used to see, but I understand why they've tried to avoid that because of injuries. I mean, that's important for the players. For life after football. I get it. With concussions and stuff. I don't think it's boring. I enjoy watching football still, as I did back in the '70s and '80s.
Right.
Yeah, boring. Boring. No, it's not the game that that I grew up with or Mike grew up with. But I still love the game, enjoy the game. There are things about the game that I could definitely do without.
The commercials.
If I had
the commercials.
No, see that. Yeah, but see, all that stuff is like coming from the industry that I come from. Working always in sales and in marketing and programming and and in sports marketing, like. That's just part of the territory.
There's no way around it. I'm not like saying they should do something about it. They just can't. But it does suck when it's like, they go to commercial break, they show the punt, and then they go to a commercial break again. That's the one that just drives me off a wall. Otherwise, I understand the commercials. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that stuff. Like I said, I'm just so used to it because of my industry. But
because you're the one selling that, are you? Is that what you're saying here? Damn it, Craig! All your fault.
Yeah, right. It's like that's one of these moments.
Yeah, you can't disclose your how you feel about this because you might have.
Well, I think Mike said it. Like sometimes I miss those big wow hitting moments of woo, right? I miss running backs. I miss the Jerome Bettis, the Earl Campbells. I miss like the running backs just dominating a game, feet in the back. And the dude's just ripping off 5-6 yards.
Yeah.
I miss
Mike. That's translating to wins too, because that's what doesn't happen nowadays. You have the best running back in the league and go 5-11.
Yeah, like I miss Mike Allstott. You know what I mean? I miss Earl Campbell. Like I just miss the days where running backs just dominated and ran through guys and dropped shoulders on guys. Now they're like, oh, I'm running out of bounds. Boring? Right. No. No,
here's a question, Craig. Time to ruffle the feathers. Is Leonard Williams adding $32 million worth of value to this team? I say absolutely not. What do you say?
I'll let Craig go first.
Mike's trying to buzz me up here because he knows like I consistently say the same thing. Find me a defensive tackle that gets 80 plus tackles, a year. Off an 11.5 sack a year. If this was a defensive end, I'd be like, yeah, he's overrated. Defensive tackle with 11.5 sacks 1 year and then 81 tackles the next year. I think he's pulling his weight and then some. Was it a good contract? No, but we need to get over ourselves and keep moving and stop worrying about what happened in the past. We're still bitching about what happened
in the past is on the books for the present.
Yeah, but what's the alternative?
Yeah,
and are we? There's really no alternative.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody.
Is Dexter that good? Is Dexter that good without him? He's good, but he might not be as good as he is.
Right. And
Jay up in the comments section got real pissed with this question. Good Lord.
What did he say?
He said a few things.
Well, look. In today's football, you gotta have depth. You gotta have players who can play. There's usually 60 to 65 snaps a game on defense. You can't expect the tackle to play like 50 of those snaps. It's not humanly possible.
That's a great point, Mike. That's a great point. When's the last time you find a D tackle that doesn't come out of the game and play?
You don't, not anymore.
I mean, this guy again. Was he overpaid? Yeah, but am I worried about it? No.
All right, well then, fair enough. So that answers the question. Then it's a value thing. It's not whether or not he himself is of value to the team. It's just meaning the contract.
That's a good question though, because I know how you feel about
it. Up in the comment section.
I know how Craig feels about it. That's a good question though.
Spartan, I like it. Reminds me of the Matumbo when he goes no. You know that commercial where he knocks
it today.
Yeah, he knocks the garbage. Yeah.
No.
All right. I'll do this. One more painful question, then one more good one. All right. What was more painful, Miracle at the Meadowlands 1 or 2?
I think 2 for me because the Giants had a chance.
Is that what? Is that like the 70s Passard check?
Yeah, that's
versus Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah. It has to be the second one for me.
And why? Because at least they won the Super Bowl the next year. So in my head, it would have made more sense for the team that already sucked and was dysfunctional in the 70s to play like that.
The Giants were a much better team. The Giants, the first Miracle Maryland's, they were horrible. With Pachacha, I mean, they were horrible. I can't even tell you how bad they were. And for them to be winning, I think it was 17-12 against the Eagles, who I think were fighting for a playoff spot. Were they not?
They were getting better that year. And they're getting better at the end of the 70s.
Well, that got them in the playoffs. That win got them in the playoffs.
And who was the Eagles DB to pick that up and go?
Herm Edwards.
Arizona State coach.
You play to win.
All right then. Which Super Bowl was your favorite? That is the final question of the night.
Oh,
well, I kind of answered that.
I already answered it, Truth, but go ahead.
Well,
I've only seen 2. I'm going to say 42, just because I was there. But second of all, just watching that was just.
It's like remembering your first kiss, remembering your first girlfriend. It was special, just like the Giants win that Super Bowl was special. That first one.
Yeah, that was just fun. I just like the first kiss. Like, oh man.
Everybody thinks of that. Come on now.
Yeah, sure, but Greg, this is rare of you to not talk. Well, come on.
I know. He's been very quiet today.
Thinking.
He gave me the keys, so now I've been talking.
86 was like so cool because like I was a young kid and my dad was pumped and my dad's friends were pumped and people I went to school with are kind of pumped. Like everybody in the town was like were waving blue and red, and like 86 had this crazy defense. But like, 2007 had a different type of. See, 86 you beat Elway, right? And it was like Elway was the big bad guy. He was the greatest. He snubbed the Colts, or to go to the Broncos and.
Yeah, but versus beating Brady though,
So that's where I was going. Like,
okay.
But the Brady thing, the Strahan thing, like not wanting to come back and being like, "Yo, I'm on the beach with Eddie Murphy's ex-wife. I'm not coming back." You know what I mean? Like, and then he comes back and the way they played that year, and it's close. I'm gonna say my favorite Super Bowl was even. I think part of it, Spartan, was when they used to get sacks. Remember the defense all did ballin', and they all did the.
Yeah.
Like that was fun. Like
what? That was 1986.
That was the 07 season.
07, okay.
They all did the ball and that song came out. Yeah, they used to play that song. Who sung that song? Somebody put that in the chat for me because I'm gonna look that up. They played that song before the pregame. Strahan was back. I don't know. Like I'm probably like Bradshaw coming out of nowhere, like playing the Bills in the snow, and all of a sudden this number 44 just breaks out for a huge
and what a great playoff run that we had there too. I'm not saying that in 86 the 49ers, then Washington wasn't good too, but like we got obliterated by Dallas and Green Bay earlier in the year. So to come out in 07 and beat them both at home or on the road, I guess, was something special, right? But again, I wasn't alive for 86 or 90, so I can't say.
I think in terms of getting to the Super Bowl and winning, that was probably the hardest for the Giants, what you just said. Beating Dallas, beating Green Bay, then beating Brady. That's phenomenal, especially the team that had what was their record that year, guys? Did they have 10-6?
10-6.
Okay. The 86 Giants were 14-2. They were expected to be there,
Yeah.
But in terms of
Super Bowl, they were ever favored to win. That was the only one that had the and they by the way, we're not going to get into it. I was going to say something. In my opinion, they should have been expected to win against the Patriots in 2011. They beat them earlier in the year. The Patriots had fluff schedule. We were a better team. I expected them to beat the Patriots in 2011.
Yeah, we were more confident because we beat them the last time we faced them in the Super Bowl. So yeah,
so I'd go. I think Mike, like with the 86, makes a ton of sense.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like just I'm gonna lean on the 07.
07.
And that was a good one too because of the teams they had to beat to get there. That was
all in.
All on the road.
Guys, yeah, I think we're the one of the only franchises that can say this. We have a Super Bowl in every decade, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We're the only one. I mean, starting with the 80s, we forget about the 70s. I mean, I don't have any memories.
You don't want to remember the 70s.
Yeah, you guys are still going to therapy for
it. I didn't watch much football in the 70s. I was trying to learn how to walk and stuff.
All you look forward to in the 70s was like Mendenhall, John Mendenhall,
Brad Van Pelt, Brad Van Pelt, and Harry Carson.
Yeah, I mean, you notice the theme there. All defensive players. Giants were pitiful in offense. Horrible.
All right, hang on. Rob Carpenter, Doug Coder.
That was the 80s. Carpenter.
But they were there like in the late 70s too. Carpenter wasn't. Carpenter came from Houston, but Coder was in there late.
I got
to check the history books here, guys. I'm not recognizing a lot of these names.
Oh my God!
Okay. There wasn't. I only have like selective memory to those because I was.
Yeah, I mean you were there, right?
The Giants had some.
Yeah, but I'm like 5 years old. You know what I mean? Like
the Giants had some great players a long time. Homer Jones was a phenomenal wide receiver back in the late 60s, early 70s. He was
overall. But Mike will tell you better than anybody. Those 70 years were the dark ages they saw.
They were.
Well,
and again, I was too little to even know any better. The only thing on TV was the Steelers and the Cowboys. And you were hoping that
you're working really hard to be like, yeah, I might be old here, but let's put it in perspective. I'm not that old.
I like the way you think.
That's why he's not that old, because I'm on. That's why.
Yeah, I like the way you think, Mike. Because I was just about to think. I was like, some of those guys. Remember, my dad used to bring the programs home from the games, and then me and my mom would, my sister would be like, trying to watch the game on TV, but they sucked so bad that they blacked out the games because they didn't sell out the stadium.
That's right.
So the game wasn't even on TV. So like you didn't really know any of those players really, except for my dad would bring home the program each week, and I'd flip through the pages. So that all changed when like LT came.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, guys, look, those are my questions for the senior citizens. I appreciate you both for coming here tonight. I know it's past your
bedtime. Look at Tudo. He says Craig and True National Geographic Channel tour guides.
Not right, Tudo. It's not right at all.
Do you have any questions for the young, handsome people like myself?
Yeah. How do you change a flat tire?
You YouTube it.
Exactly.
I call it.
No. Spartan says call AAA. That's what you do.
We had an incident. I do know how to change a tire. We did have an incident when I was traveling for work. I was with a more tenured external salesperson. Tire blew out. Just got the thing. Just started cranking right away. Knew what to do. It was pretty respectable. And I offered help because I too knew what to do. I promise. But
that's good.
Well, and because that's because the senator raised you right.
That's right. That's right.
What?
But guys, look, I mean, this is all with all due respect. Everybody knows I'm joking around. Hopefully, again, I do not want to get my my ass beat by Truth when I visit him in North Carolina. But I do want to say thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure being here and hosting the show tonight. Craig, thank you for giving me the keys. I know you're best friends now with Logan Ryan, so that's pretty cool. Hopefully get him up on the show. But just want to say thank you, Giants Nation. 4 months away from football, and I'm pumped for it. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I got one last housekeeping thing. Wednesday nights, rush hour with Nikki and Danny. Make sure you guys are tuning in. Fantasy football is coming. Sports betting is coming. Around the NFL is coming. And lastly is nygiantsrush.com has all the content there aggregated for you to read. The store is open, and I'm actually working on a new store. So if you want a nice lid or you want one of these bad boys, jump in there now. I think they got like 20% off right now in the store. So jump in there, and for the ladies, they got the Razorbacks and the muscle shirts and all that crazy stuff that they like to show off their guns. So jump in the store and grab some gear. Support us.
Subscribe. Damn it, that's what we need.
And I need you to subscribe to YouTube, and I need those people who aren't following me on Twitter. We are so close to these 2 huge milestones. I want to give away all this gear, so come get it.
Well said.
All right, guys. Happy Memorial Day. Have a great week.
Happy Memorial Day. Peace.
Peace out, boys.